Thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby Panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com, and today we're talking about the food from the series Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. Before we begin, I'll have everyone introduce themselves, and Joel, will start with you.
Hey there, I'm Joel from the YouTube channel Planet Scooby.
Trevor.
My name is Trevor, and I am on Instagram with Funky Philosophy Fridays.
And John.
I'm John Souders. I'm on Facebook, and Nikki just happened to stumble upon me as a fan of her page.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. We're always excited to have new people.
It's great to be here, and as I said to you, I am truly honored. Really, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So we're going to talk about the foods in general from the episodes, and I have a few notes that I'm just going to read, and then you guys can give me your opinions. So first of all, I typed out 28¼ pages of food from this series. Every time they mentioned food, every time there was food on the screen, I wrote it down. Normally I write down every time, like if there's a bowl of popcorn and that popcorn shows up in several scenes, I'll write down every scene. I didn't do that for Get a Clue, because then this list would have probably been another 20 pages. So I wrote down the first time it appeared in the episode, but did not necessarily write down every scene it was in. So one of the things that I thought was funny was that Roby wanted to be their personal chef, but he could not make anything. And it was ridiculous. He tried to whip up beans and got a plate mixed into it.
Yep.
He made them, which this is the grossest food in this series. We will not be trying it, but Brussels sprout and Limburger cheese oatmeal with mystery meat. Yeah. So I thought about trying it. I did. I thought about it.
Really?
But I am very sensitive to smells, and I knew that the cheese and I were not going to get along. Like, things don't smell the same to me that they smell to other people. Okay. That, like, my husband got lemon scented soap and it smelled like a skunk. My whole family insisted it did not smell like a skunk, but it did to me. So I figured the Limburger cheese was not a good idea.
Good call. Good call.
So Shaggy and Scooby got to be chefs in Chefs of Steel, which was pretty cool. There were pizza sticks, which I really want them to be a real thing. We need pizza sticks.
We do. Well, at one time, didn't Keebler have something similar to that?
Oh, they might have.
I think they did, yeah.
In the 80s, only it was like only it was like a chip, but it was maybe the closest thing you'd get. Pizzerias or something like that.
Yeah, like something like was dusted with tomato and some semblance of
yeah.
I think,
I seem to remember that. It's like, I remember the first time I saw the episode and they're saying pizza sticks, and all I could think of was that from Keebler were those chips.
Yeah.
They were really awesome, but then, like all good things, somehow they disappear.
Right? Yeah, there's so many foods that I miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So out of all 26 episodes in this series, there were only 3 episodes that did not mention food within the first 2 minutes. So all the other episodes, pretty much they started with food. Whether they were talking about food, they were making food, there was food on the table, whatever. So this was a very food intensive series. And what were your thoughts on the food, Joel?
Yeah, a lot of food, and I enjoyed it that they took it to the extreme. It made sense for the era it ran in. And if Shaggy and Scooby had their own personal chef, which is a robot, and unlimited money, there's going to be a lot of food. And they're pretty inventive with, I remember like they sat down for a movie and they had 16 flavors of licorice.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, I was trying to like, okay, there's strawberry, there's grape, licorice. What are the other 13? You know, it's just
I
making
was
up one.
I was actually thinking about that this morning when I was getting ready for work. I was like, they mentioned 16 flavors of licorice. What were those 16 flavors? Like now I
Yeah.
need to know this.
Right. Wasn't one meat flavored?
It's possible. I would not
Yeah.
be surprised if
Or
they had
one of
meat
them, or
flavored
one of them was some kind of meat or like taco or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Just your non-typical licorice flavor.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No.
Oh. Joel, did you have
Um,
anything else to say about the food in general?
No, I think we're going to cover a lot more later on, so I'll leave it there.
Trevor, what were your thoughts about the food in the series in general?
It was like the food, just like the Mystery Machine overall, it's like a character. The food was the character of its own. I mean, food seemed to be like a plot device, like something always there. It was, the more I was looking, when I first watched it through, I was looking at stories and plot line, and I wasn't really thinking about it that much. But when I turned the eyes to really thinking about it and looking at it for the food, and it wasn't just them eating the food, it was like the creation of the food, and then there was like the playing with the food, and then the food that the villains were involved with. So it was like a Nickelodeon kind of approach to it, which, you know, definitely for the kids.
yeah.
So
Yeah. John, what were your thoughts on the food in general in the series?
Very eclectic. They definitely branched out with a more variety of food and combinations, but yet they still had their standards. Like the hot dog taco was always present,
Yeah.
and much to the bane of Five's whenever it was mentioned, or when he'd look for, I think there was that one time he was looking for the formula or some answer, and all it turned out to be was a recipe for hot dog tacos. But no, it worked, and they have tried to appeal to everybody. I think that was a great. I like how he said about liking it to a Nickelodeon approach, with the very colorful and just appealing to the kids,
Yeah.
and not just foods that most kids wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So I did get to speak to Ray DeLaurentis, who created and wrote Get a Clue. I asked him if the food was part of the series intentionally, or if they just kind of wrote it in just to make it funnier. He said that they had to have a lot of food because Shaggy and Scooby love food. It's all they ever talk about. He said there was never a point where they said, let's put more food in this. So what they wrote was what they wrote. Like it was, you know, they didn't necessarily focus on the food, but they focused on the food because they knew that Shaggy and Scooby loved food. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Quite so.
We are going to talk about Scooby Snacks. And I love the fact that Scooby Snacks were in every single episode of this series, because that's what we've always thought, that Scooby Snacks were always in every episode. And through the panels and research, we've learned that that's not true. But in Get a Clue, they were a huge part of the series. They were bone shaped. And sometimes they had an S on them, and sometimes they had the name of what they did. So
That's
some
true.
of them said speed or strength, you know, any of that. We even got to see the bone mold that they made the Scooby Snack from. And in the first episode, even though you couldn't read it, there was a Scooby Snacks recipe. I'm kind of sad that you couldn't read it, because I think that would have been really cool.
If that's something, it really would be cool to actually know or hear.
Mm-hmm.
What is in the recipe for an actual Scooby snack?
Yeah.
I think somewhere, wasn't it said that Joe Barbera himself compared it to like a butterscotch cookie, I think. I think I read that somewhere. Yeah, I did. And somewhere that once someone questioned Joe Barbera himself, what is a Scooby snack or what does it taste like? And he likened it to a butterscotch cookie.
Hmm.
You know those the cookies that come in a tin?
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
That's pretty much what I'm guessing he likened it to.
I
And it's
like
like,
butterscotch.
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
I could see that they're kind of the same color. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the snacks were called Super Scooby Snacks, and they gave Scooby the ability of strength, speed, flight, shield, intelligence, and invisibility. He could transform into a robot, a dolphin, morph into anyone he touched, and turn into a giant version of himself, which when he turned into that giant version, it reminded me of Scrappy from the live action movie.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it looked very much like Scrappy from the live action movie when he turned into the giant. Yeah. Yeah. There was only one episode that Scooby did not eat a Scooby snack, and that was Don't Feed the Animals. And that was because all the marmosets ate them.
Those moms.
The rest of the episodes, Scooby did eat a Scooby snack, and he had his super strength or power or whatever, which I also thought was pretty cool. It was a different take on this, using the Scooby snacks, giving him powers, and it was kind of cool to see him transform into different things. The dolphin was super cute.
Yeah, definitely.
Trevor, what were your thoughts on the Scooby snacks in the series?
I like them a lot. It was fun. Though my practical brain, which always does have the questions, kind of like how Shaggy and Scooby come up with the red and white barber suits for the songs and the shaves and stuff. It's like I'm wondering about Uncle Albert, what he knew of the gang and their mystery solving. What the Scooby snacks meant. It kind of makes you wonder. Remember, I think wasn't it in a pop named Scooby-Doo that like there was an actual company, so
Mhm.
perhaps
Yes.
Uncle Albert knew that
Constant
he
snack.
decided yeah, to go ahead and make a snack based off of it. But for an uncle that you never knew about, he was awfully informed about the possibilities, that could mean for the two of them, Shaggy and Scooby, and how much help they could be. So once I put that kind of deniability in, and just let myself have fun with it, it was really cool. I wish he sometimes more knew what he was going to be. And then the one time where just kept eating them, and it didn't seem like it was doing anything, I was kind of scared he was just really going to literally die. But it was pretty funny. And I like the clone, where how in the world even 10 Scoobies could drink up a Grand Canyon's worth of Jello. And it
Yeah.
was green too. I
Yeah.
guess it was lime Jello, which is one of the more tolerable flavors for me. So
Acquired taste.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and then the limitation of it I didn't like is like the moment he belched or burped or digested it, it was gone. And it's like that puts an extremely short clock on it sometimes. I would have liked to seen them have a little more longer effect. 5 or 10 for, in the story, a little more time, because it sometimes almost felt Inspector Gadget like, where he was doing everything's perfect,
Yeah.
and then the
And
propeller
then
stops, or
something would get fouled up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it's definitely such a good thing. I enjoyed them.
John, what were your thoughts on the Scooby snacks in the series?
I thought it definitely brought a new background up to the Scooby snacks because you go back to like, well, how did they even come about? And even the reference to like a pup named Scooby-Doo, that there's actually a company that makes Scooby snacks. And then Uncle Albert, who we just heard about, clearly he knew of how Scooby and Shaggy were basically drawn to these things. They would do anything for them. I mean, basically anything. You throw out a snack, Scooby's going to do it. And it also, whenever Scooby got his snack, it gave him the extra courage. Well, what about on top of the courage, it gives him the extra boost or incentive to help in a more dire, or in at least in this series, more dangerous or life-threatening situations. Whereas before, Shaggy and Scoob, it took a more serious role on it. Whereas in other series, it was a little more bravery, but comedic. But it blended the perfect of comedic, serious. I mean, Scooby's a force to be reckoned with. I mean, like the one snack that made him buff, and then he was just like pounding through everybody. I mean, you think Scooby-Doo? No, that's not Scooby-Doo. But I like that it gave Scooby a different take on different side of him. That he's not just a cowardly, goofy dog.
Yeah.
It just gave him more depth, you know? Showed, like, put him in a situation. How would Scooby react in that? What if you gave him Plastic Man's powers? What if he turned into just a bubble? Plus, you just never knew what was going to happen and how was he going to be able to handle it, or when that burp was going to cancel it.
Yeah. The one time he did eat Scooby Snacks so that he could clone himself so he could do everything he wanted on the cruise ship. I thought that
Yes.
was kind of funny because he wasn't using them for anything other than to be able to have fun.
No, and the thing was, it gave him chances. Like, that's an excellent point, Nikki. He didn't always have to use them for serious, because let's face it, Shaggy and Scooby, they're about the fun. They're good
Yeah.
times, laid back. I mean, joy, pure joy, both of them. But when they do need to step up to the plate and take action, while they may need the incentive, they do it.
Yeah.
I like how in this series, I know this is diverging from the snack. I'm sorry about that. But Shaggy was definitely more responsible in a way. I like that there was a little more depth to Shaggy.
Yeah.
But he knew, okay, it's time to grow up just a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah. Joel, what were your thoughts on the Scooby Snacks in the series?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was very creative, a lot of fun. It made the episode a lot more fun because you never knew which direction they're going to go. They were very creative with, like you said, they had the scene you were just talking about, cruise ship with the Scooby Snacks, which was fun. And then it also gets Scooby out of trouble and Scooby into trouble in a lot of cases too. So I just loved it how they just switched it up. You never knew where it was going to go. Like Trevor said earlier, there's some suspense. Like I was worried for Scooby at that part too. Like, were those snacks going to work? Who knew? I was worried too. Yeah. So it was great.
So we did see a few different Scooby Snacks bags mostly. But there was a box. There was a white box with a blue stripe and orange lettering that said Scooby Snacks. All of them, I believe, were SNACKS. There was a yellow bag with red writing that said Scooby Snacks. There was a white bag that almost looked like a Ziploc bag with black lettering that said Scooby Snacks. And then there were a couple brown, what looked like brown paper bags that had black lettering. One said Scooby Snacks, and in the middle of it said Morphing across the bottom. And then later in the same episode, it said Scooby Snacks in bold and Super Duper Strength under it. So what did you guys think about the packaging for the Scooby Snacks? John?
I like that they mixed it up, the variety. It wasn't always just just a box. I mean, and plus it kind of gave you that chance that, see, I guess to maybe a trick for your eye to see, okay, it's all right, it changed. I thought it was a box. No, now it's a bag or it's a pouch. But I also like how they, with the spelling that you mentioned, that it was always the SNACKS,
Mhm.
whereas sometimes they SNAX, which makes you think, but it's like, okay. But no, I liked it. I like the variety of the different pieces, casings for it, if you will.
Yeah. A majority of the time, Shaggy just had them in his pocket. And I'm actually surprised that they didn't break, that when he gave them to Scooby, they were whole.
Yes, like he would always pull it out, like they just tumbled down a hill or fell out of the mystery machine or crash landed it. Oh, I still have a whole Scooby snack. Here you go, Scooby.
Yes. Joel, what were your thoughts on the Scooby Snacks
Oh, like
packaging?
fanboy me wants just the fanboy in me just wants like consistent, just one Scooby Snacks box to rule them all. But we live in an age of marketing, so it makes sense to be like tons of different packaging now. And there's probably like convenient sizes for them and snack packs and bulk size Costco Scooby Snacks, right? So they gotta have their different sizes.
Right?
But I am on team SNAX. That's my preferred
Oh,
preferred way, even though it's grammarly incorrect. I just always like the snacks with the X. So that broke my heart a little, but I understand why people would like SNACKS as well, because it's correct, grammarly correct, and whatever, spelt right.
I do prefer SNACKS. I do.
I sorry, I gotta stick with that. I blame my parents for being teachers, but you spell it wrong, you're gonna get drilled into you.
for me, it depends on the day. Sometimes I like the one spelling and sometimes I like it the other. I think X might have fit, more this show more because it's kind of that X Games vibe, super sports,
That's
extreme,
a good
whatever. I
point.
mean, I'm surprised they didn't do it, but
Yeah.
That's a very good point because they did take it to the extreme a lot in this series.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
It's funny that a certain spelling would fit a series better than others.
yeah, I mean,
Really.
Trevor, what are your thoughts on the packaging for the Scooby Snacks?
again, it's like Uncle Albert. It's like you're so daggum smart. You couldn't make up enough packaging to have them consistent. I mean, if it's Shaggy trying to figure out how to come up with all those ways to cart and carry it around, it doesn't really make sense he'd do it when he could just stick them in his pocket. I mean, the Ziploc kind of bag made the most sense for what they were doing. But for the fact that this man, planned to go undercover, world domination, and then you ask your nephew and his dog that can talk to help out, and you didn't make enough boxes. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be
Get by
funny.
that much.
Can you give me a little, Uncle Albert? Or even back, I mean, just to air my grievance, it's like, why not include his 3 more capable friends? He should have asked the whole gang to live in the mansion. He should have asked Mystery Incorporated to help save the world, but that's a whole other panel.
Good point.
I step aside.
I might be able to give you a little bit of insight on that. One of the things that Ray DeLaurentis said was that they wrote each episode in about 3 days.
Whoa.
So they didn't have a whole lot of time to write the episodes, and therefore I would assume writing in the other 3 characters all the time would have made it that much more difficult.
Okay, well then
Most likely.
that's totally understandable. So,
Yeah.
okay.
That makes sense.
And when I asked him about the Scooby Snacks, he said that the nanotech idea came from an animator who wanted Scooby to be 100 feet tall like Godzilla. And he just thought that that was funny, and he went with it.
He's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Sorry.
not a bad idea, right?
Sorry, I'm just picturing a 50-foot tall Scooby going through Tokyo.
I kind of imagine like a samurai sword movie part 2, and have this a samurai sword and also, mecha villain and Scooby Godzilla. I think that would be rather lovely.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
It's funny because when you think about it, it's grown adults that are coming up with these ideas. But,
Yeah.
I mean, like us, you have to be somewhat of a kid. I mean, Scooby is everywhere in this room. If I was like a real mature adult, I probably wouldn't have Scooby in the entire room, right?
Potato.
There's so much I could say to that, Nikki, but I don't want to take the focus off this panel.
We can talk about it after. That's what Scooby Panel After Dark is for.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So the use of food for other reasons in the series besides eating, in Uncle Albert Alert, they used rock candy to shoot at the agents so that they could get into Five's hideout. And they used Snackbot to shoot the rock candy, which I thought was funny that they had a robot that gave out snacks. But of course, like Roby, it malfunctioned. They had a hamburger-shaped mailbox, which later was a pizza-shaped mailbox. They used whipped cream to cover a camera in Smart House. In Chefs of Steel, the broccoli, when it was heated to the correct temperature, created a sound wave that put anyone in its path under Five's spell and made them do his bidding. They shot frozen chickens out of bazookas. And then my personal favorite, they made the robot dog, Robo-Dog, out of kitchen items. His head was a waffle maker, his body was a toaster, a fork and wooden spoon were his ears, mug and kitchen timer eyes, ladles for his front feet, a juicer and whisk for his back feet. And he was able to make waffles, toast, and juice. And they used him several times he put out a fire, he squirt the juice in people's faces to help Shaggy and Scooby.
Yeah.
So I really liked Robo-Dog. And then the last thing I have written down is that Clown Fives, the clone, one of his clones, was throwing pie bombs at Shaggy and Scooby. So Joel, what were your thoughts on the use of food for other reasons?
Yeah, another great thing with this episode was that I like Robo-Dog as well, and these episodes just move so fast, like, but it's memorable too. Like they just I just was in awe. Like these episodes were 20 minutes and just go by so quick because they just have so many gags. And yeah, not every episode, but quite a few of those episodes had food gags like that, and you just marvel at, now that I've learned they only had 3 days to write all this, I'm like, how did they do this? Like, how did they shove so much in every episode?
They really did, yeah. Yeah. Trevor, what were your thoughts on the use of food for other reasons?
I really enjoyed it. Well, even with the villains, it said that filling the Grand Canyon with Jello, it's like pretty creative. Then there was the one scene where Shaggy was saving Scooby by putting ketchup on himself, and so ketchup as a condiment becomes a heroic force. Now I'm a big fan of ketchup anyway, so that just made it all the better. And there was something else that I'm thumbing through, but I don't know if I can find it. In the Chefs of Steel episode where the flour, going everywhere, kind of diffuse and cover and block for things. It's like kind of a neat, unintentional trick.
I feel like that was kind of a callback to like earlier Scooby too, because they used flour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like well, Roby, I even watching the second time through, I try to be sympathetic to poor Roby, but I just can't. And then I'm just like, Uncle Albert, you got this gorgeous house and it's always getting destroyed. And then I notice the backgrounds, the house is fixed in the next episode. How? I mean, but yeah, but Roby in the kitchen, in Roby trying to create the food is just a nightmare. So, but I don't know if we're gonna. Oh, and I was running across another thing that I don't know if we're gonna talk. I may talk about that at the end, but it's under the gross part. So,
Okay.
yeah.
John, what are your thoughts on the use of food for other reasons?
Resourceful in many reasons. I mean, definitely proves food was not just for eating when it comes to Shaggy and Scooby. I mean, food is their life, but and in many instances, it saved their lives. So when the going gets tough, food to the rescue. It, especially how you said with RoboDog, which again, I have to agree, RoboDog was just amazing. And the fact that he still used the functions from what he was made of. But I like it. I really like it. Something as simple as squirting ketchup. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. There was also the theme park had a whole lot of food.
Yes.
I was a little surprised that the rides weren't like it wasn't a burger coaster or something.
That's excellent point to bring that up about their theme park. You're thinking, okay, Shaggy and Scooby with a theme park. It's going to be based around what they like. Well, why wasn't the roller coaster a bunch of burgers on a track? Or it was something swinging around like a bunch of hot dogs instead of the little planes that swing around.
Yeah.
Or the log flume was, I don't know, just like a watermelon or something going on.
Yes.
You just expect to see more food.
Yeah, in the background, yeah. Although I guess I should be happy that there wasn't more food because the list was quite insane. This is definitely the longest list that I've had so far for any series of food.
Really?
The only thing I worry about is that maybe Pup has more food. Talk about Pup when we get to Pup.
Yeah.
So what gross foods have you eaten, Trevor?
Well, okay, this goes. I do believe it was New Orleans. I do believe it was a long time ago, and I learned that you just don't mix mayonnaise with hot seafood. And had a po' boy that was shrimp and mayonnaise, and I don't know if it had tainted or I was just about on the vomiting side of things. I don't like mayo anyway, but it was like kind of when you're in Rome and tried it. But in general, it's like if seafood is hot, it probably needs to be covered and breaded and fried. I'm usually like a raw shrimp, heated or warm, without being dipped, is just not my cup of tea. So, I mean, but to go to one gross thing that I think I might try if I ever had to would be a chocolate covered grasshopper, but I have never been around one. So there's that.
My son ate one of those.
What did he say?
He said it was fine. I was completely disgusted by it, but he said it was fine.
All power to him.
Yeah. He also ate a termite off a tree.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway. John, what
Yes.
gross foods have you eaten?
I will admit a lot of the combinations that Shaggy and Scooby have done, you name it, I have tried it. The pepperoni sausage anchovy pizza with the hot fudge. I have tried it.
Oh no.
I actually enjoy it. It's pretty good. That'd probably be the weirdest. The other one that I can think of, but it's also a reference to something else, would be, and kudos to anyone who gets it, would be the Twinkie Wiener sandwich. If anyone has watched UHF, the hot dog and a Twinkie with the cheese whiz on it.
Oh.
I could go on with the weird food combinations that I've tried, but given the reactions that I'm seeing and hearing,
Well, that was the whole point. So go ahead. I'm giving you. It's like
oh,
when you
okay,
have
all
a
right,
when
all
someone says
right.
a pun, you groan. So I'm just going. Go on, go on.
Okay, but you asked for it. Last weekend, this one my girlfriend actually came up with, and my son, she had made breakfast. Last weekend was pancakes with mac and cheese and syrup. Like generic, not Kraft Dinner, but generic mac and cheese on top of the pancakes with syrup. It's actually very delicious.
I might be able to get down with that.
I
think I could
would
try
recommend it. It's really not as disgusting as you'd think. Let's see. Other than that, I have tried peanut butter and jelly on a burger.
From what Devin has said, he has restaurants near him in Wisconsin that make that.
Yep, there's one locally here where I live that actually they have a peanut butter and jelly burger, which it's very good. I know a restaurant I actually worked in college. One of their main things was it was a bacon cheeseburger with peanut butter and a fried egg. It's awesome. And oddly enough, it was the biggest seller. But definitely the pizza combination I told you was probably the worst. And I will drop it there because I don't want Nikki or anyone else to, well, have to excuse themselves or have to get a vomit bag.
Joel, what are some gross things that you've eaten?
I'll stick to two. The first gross thing, so also worked at a restaurant, but this is for rich people. It's a private club. I was a bartender. And John, I guess you can probably attest, if you're working in a restaurant, you're always hungry.
Yeah. It goes with it comes with the territory.
Yeah. Even though you're shoving calories in your face all day, you're still hungry.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. You're constantly.
So this shift I was working, they were serving something called tuna tartare.
Oh boy.
Which is minced tuna, capers, minced raw tuna. Sorry, it's not even cooked. Capers, red onion, parsley, and mayonnaise. And they make it into like a burger patty.
Yeah.
They crack an egg on it, like a raw egg. And you eat it cold. By the time I got to it, like all the leftovers is like it's been sitting out for 3 hours.
Oh.
And they had about like a pound of it left. I ate the whole pound.
Oh, Joel.
Oh man. I
had no reason to eat this either. Like
Joel,
I took a bite.
God
And like,
forbid any food safety people are hearing this right now.
Joel, I think you win. You win, Joel.
It was not good, but yeah.
I knew he would. I knew it. Said it. Okay, give it the second one.
The second one. So I was dating when I was in university. There was exchange students, and I was dating one of the girls from Norway. And then when I went over to see her in the summer, and she was living with her grandparents who are very traditional, and they wanted something special for when I arrived. So they had something traditional. It's called Norwegian smalahove. And that is basically just a salted lamb's head.
Oh.
A salted lamb's head.
Yep, it's just a cured, dried, salted lamb's head.
And
Except
you ate this?
I ate it, and they saved the eyeballs for me.
Oh.
Awesome. Do you still have them?
No, I was supposed to eat them.
Oh, did you?
Oh.
I did not,
I
but
couldn't. I just
her
couldn't.
brother ate them fortunately for me. And like when he bit into it, the juice from the eyeball just like shot out.
Oh, oh my gosh.
That is awful.
Yeah, I thought I was
Nice.
in like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I wasn't.
I was gonna
I could
say
feel
we
the land
just
head.
just went from Scooby to Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah. I've had pig's head before, so I'm like, I can deal with this.
Oh,
Again, rich people like the pig's head, like the pig's cheek is like the best part of the pig.
Yeah,
I was used to it. So, but
I've
then
heard that. I've heard that.
yeah,
That is great, Joel. That, believe it or not, that sharing that made my night. Thank you. Thank you.
I am thanking God that I did not date that girl.
we're going Norway.
All of it is like Norway, man. No way. No way, man. Ah.
So I don't eat a whole lot of gross foods because I just tend not to. But I have been doing the videos of the Scooby-Doo cookbook, and I am surprised that the recipes are not crazier. Like, I really expected them to be off the wall, things that I would never put together, but they're actually pretty tame for what I thought they would be. The worst, I think, was Scooby and Shaggy's Jaw Stretcher special, which was like it was almost like a grilled cheese, but without the cheese. It had peanut butter, marshmallow fluff, banana, hazelnut spread, jelly, and chocolate chips. And it was just super sweet. And then like the combination of all of these things together, like they almost canceled each other out, but then they didn't, if that makes any sense. It was just a really weird combination of foods, and I don't know. I just, it was okay. I took 2 bites of it and I couldn't eat anymore.
Props for trying it.
But yeah, the cookbook is a lot tamer than I thought it would be, because I thought I was gonna have to eat some like really gross things together, but I guess they made it for kids. They don't want kids to get sick. Although some of these things, like the cupcakes were good, but then you add the cotton candy and it was so sweet. I couldn't even handle eating the whole thing. I ate the cupcake. I just couldn't eat it with the cotton candy. Yeah. But that's it. That's besides the stories I've already said on food panels, which you'll have to go back and watch them if you want to know. I don't eat a whole lot of gross foods.
Smart.
To each their own.
We are going to taste test some foods. We're going to taste test the hot dog taco, which, as John said, was carried throughout the series. We saw this in several different episodes. In the pictures, it looks like a hot dog with French fries on a taco shell. But Ray DeLaurentis said it really should have just been hot dogs in a taco shell. And we're going to try the hot fudge pizza, which you saw a picture of the hot fudge pizza in the food court, which is why I chose it, because it just looked kind of interesting. So yeah, so we're gonna taste test these foods, and they're not as gross as they could be, but it all works. So we're gonna take a break to get our stuff together. Yeah. Take
Okay.
as much time as you need, assuming that you're not baking a pizza from scratch.
No, not everything. Pretty much.
And then we will come back on screen and eat these wonderful foods.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. So you guys ready to try the hot dog taco?
Yes.
Yes.
Hot dog with French fries, even though it's just supposed to be a hot dog and a corn chip. I already had the French fries, so. All right. See how this
There
is.
we go.
Well,
It's good, actually.
That's
yeah.
perfect. Could use some hot sauce.
You could throw some hot sauce on there.
All right.
Okay.
It would be Shaggy and Scooby approved, that's for sure.
Well, since you insist.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I'm not big on hot dogs, so like I wouldn't eat this all the time, but yeah, I could eat this. Yeah.
I think a soft shell would make it even better. Soft shell.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
soft shell would be good.
But this, okay, pardon my can. Oh, there we go. Oh.
So what do you think? You think the hot dog taco is a keeper?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I did not put my hot fudge on my pizza yet. I figured I would do that up here.
Okay, so we're moving on. This will be interesting as my relationship with chocolate is usually yes. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will
So
continue.
will it be the same on pizza? Right?
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So I just put some hot fudge on the end of it because I'm not
I
eating the
guess.
whole piece, but all right, hot fudge pizza.
Here we go.
All right.
Not good. No.
I think the chocolate and the cheese is working for me, but the pepperoni is taking it somewhere else, and that's really the surprise. Because
Mm.
I would think chocolate covered pepperoni.
Is it bad that I like this?
No, I think it's great.
Um.
Yeah.
Well,
I did get
it's
a hot
chocolate,
fudge
so
like
I'm
everywhere.
not wasting this. So. Yep.
I hear you, Nikki. I think I just dropped some fudge on my foot.
Oh fudge.
Literally.
Yeah, I can't do the hot fudge pizza. I just no.
If it was a dessert pizza where it was like caramel and chocolate and
Oh yeah.
yeah, that would be.
Then I could totally do that, but with cheese and tomato sauce, no.
Mm.
I can't do it. Yeah. John is loving the pizza though. That's awesome.
You don't like it. I'm in the middle. and
I'm
he's-
sorry. I'm Shaggy at heart.
Well, you kind of look like Shaggy tonight. So
We'll hear him.
the hair and the
What do
facial.
you think I do, man?
Yep, exactly. Love it.
Yeah.
Right.
So the hot dog taco I think is a winner.
Definitely.
But for me, the hot fudge pizza is not.
I'm 50-50 on the. I don't love it, but I didn't hate it. I would, if it was set down in front of me at a girlfriend's house, I would eat it. And like a pig cheek, you know.
Sean, what are your thoughts on the hot dog taco and the hot fudge pizza now that you've devoured that slice of pizza?
Yeah, it kind of goes without saying, but yeah, I like it. I like them both. But win-win here.
I think they would make good fair foods.
Most likely, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right there with chocolate covered pickles and all that other stuff they have at the fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've never tried a chocolate covered pickle.
I think Sonic had a pickled flavored milkshake I saw advertised.
A pickle flavored milkshake?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
I
a
don't
new
know about that.
Probably where they just take like the vinegar, from the pickle jar and put it into a vanilla shake.
Mm.
So,
So let's talk about our final thoughts on the foods from Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. Joel, what are your final thoughts?
I'm going back to the start of this episode. Limburg cheese is stinky. So I think you might smell it like it might smell good to you, Nikki.
oh yeah, is that?
Oh,
It's
that
so
really?
stinky to the rest of the
the
world.
opposite?
It's like the
Yeah.
stinkiest cheese.
All right,
So
well,
yeah,
if I can find some Limburger cheese and smell it, and if it doesn't smell bad, then we'll try the Brussels sprouts Limburger cheese oatmeal with the
You
Mr.
will.
I,
You will.
hey, I will try
John
it.
would be up. Oh, Devin would be up for this. Devin
All
would
right,
be
me,
up.
John, and Devin will try it.
I will say this, Nikki, whatever crazy food combinations you come up with, I will try it. You have my word.
All right. Joel, anything else you wanted to add?
no,
No, that's it. Just about the cheese.
yeah.
All right. Trevor, final thoughts?
I just thought it was fun. I mean, the whole thing was pretty much it was food from every angle, but in a weird way, since it depends on what you want. It wasn't. It was totally involved, but not too obtrusive. And normally, sometimes, like with the oldest school Scooby-Doo stuff, the food kind of jars me a little. But with this, it's kind of the basic volume is food and covered in butter and popcorn and stuff. So, yeah, I liked the way it was. And the one thing there was a really gross out scene where Fibes was staying with them and his toenail clippings got in the nachos and he
Yeah.
started eating them.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
That was really nauseating, actually.
Yeah, nauseating. How about that? That's just no, because no.
John, final thoughts on the foods from the series?
It was the perfect blend of the celebration of food, the beauty of food, and the many uses of it. But I especially like the mixture of it, the eclectic use of it, while still keeping your staples, if you will, or going as far as the toenails. But enough about that.
Oh, that was awful. That was the worst. That was worse than the Brussels sprouts Limburger cheese
It was.
oatmeal. Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, it could be worse, Nikki. They could ask you to try toenails.
Yeah.
No,
Not
no,
doing that.
not on this panel. No, we have standards.
This is
Right.
Scooby, not Fear Factor.
That's right. I thought it was really cool that there was so much food in the series, and it definitely went with Shaggy and Scooby because they are always hungry. I mean, they weren't lacking food in this series, that's for sure. And the Scooby Snacks, I think it's really cool how they took Scooby Snacks to a whole new level. And they gave Scooby all these different powers and things that he could do, and it made it so fun. And when the first time I watched the series, I kind of watched it and was like, I'm not sure about this series. But in the 3 days that I watched all 26 episodes to write down the food, I think I was so focused on the food that it was like I was enjoying watching the series because I was seeing all these things that were just so fun and funny and different. And, like I said, they took it to a different level. It wasn't just like, hey, let's eat a hot dog. Let's, roast a marshmallow. Let's make a giant sandwich. It was here, have this Scooby snack and turn into a huge version of yourself. So I thought it was really cool. I really liked that. Yeah. So we're going to wrap things up. Before we do, let everyone know where they can find you on social media. And Joel, we'll start with you.
You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Planet Scooby.
Trevor?
Find me on Instagram, Funky Philosophy Fridays, and all the sounds are the letter F.
John?
You can find me on Facebook at John Shaggy Souders or John Boy Do and an accordion too.
Nice.
Mm.
And you can find all my links on ScoobyAddicts.com. Let us know your thoughts on the food from Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. And if you've tried any of the crazy foods from the series. And thank you for joining us for another Scooby Panel. Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby Panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A huge shout out to our patrons, Julie Rosen, Ross from ScoobyFan.net, Tagus, Garrett Spencer, and Paul the Scooby Dude. If you would like to support the Scooby Panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. A very special thank you to Joel from Planet Scooby, pop artist Trevor Hawkins, and Scooby fan John Souders. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms, or as a web series on YouTube. You can find Scooby Panel on Instagram, Facebook, and X as @ScoobyPanel. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network, where you can find all things geek. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Scooby Panel logo by Garrett Spencer. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for another Scooby Panel.